Jones Live, Doni Jones Live. It's Doni Jones Live, Doni Jones Live. It's Doni Jones Live, Doni Jones Live.
Hey, welcome to Doni Jones Live. I am Donnie, the tree lady, hanging out with that guy.
That guy, Mardy McFly. What it do? What it do? What's going on, Miss Donnie?
Oh my God.
What is going on? I know everything and everything and nothing at the same time, but there's a whole lot of craziness going on.
This is going to be a very interesting show. For those of you that are checking us out, thank you for checking us out, by the way. Got to say what's up to my peoples out there. Thank you all for tuning in to us every week. We really do appreciate it.
Yes.
Dude, are we going back in time again?
You know, it seems like, we're going to biblical times. When they pulling out the golden statues and all of that kind of stuff, and it's like, really?
Aren't we supposed to not bow down to idols or pray to idols, idol worshiping? They talked about that. Now, I have to put this in your lap because you know me, I always talk about being more spiritual than religious. You know how I feel about that.
Yeah.
But there are certain principles that I just feel like we have to adhere to. And I'm not trying to jump crazy into the show right now, but we're going to jump crazy because I don't...
Well, you got to let them know what we're talking about, too, though. Yeah.
Marty's president, or ex-president, spoke at an event, and at this event, they had a golden statue of 45. I don't even say his name anymore.
Right.
I'm so disgusted. And oh, by the way, the views of this show do not necessarily reflect the reviews of this station. So
but please, it should.
It should. But do not go back to the station complaining that we are anti this or anti that. We are pro-love. We're pro-people. We're pro-God. We're pro-spirituality. We're pro-truth.
I'm anti-45. I don't sign up for that. I don't sign up. Even if they're doing a news break on him, I really don't even want to give him any kind of a credit or anything. But it is crazy.
Tell me what you think about that thing, that situation.
It's a sad reality because most of these people that follow him, they're in church on Sunday morning.
Yep.
They are. And they're like, oh, this is God, and he's
they had one of the big pastors down there, that the blonde lady that built her ministry on the backs of black people is now a hardcore conservative talking head, bobblehead, as you will. And I don't care if, whatever. She built her ministry on the backs of black folks, and then when she saw that it was very good marketing to jump to the other side and support a known racist, she did.
And I don't understand how you can go to church on Sunday and deal. I'm saying support this guy, knowing everything that he's done, but at the same time, here's a crazy situation, Donnie. It was a question that I had this week too. In my Bible classes and everything else. How do you reprogram yourself? When everything that you're surrounded around is giving you false information, but you don't know.
Right.
Growing up in a small town, everything you saw and believed, it is what it is. I grew up thinking that, if you sleep with the fan on you, you're going to catch a cold.
Right. Right. Step on a crack, break your mother's back.
Right. These are the belief systems. So how do you change that? Because these people right now that are following that guy, they have been lied to.
Yeah.
They've been bamboozled in a sense, and they don't know that, this is the lie.
Yeah.
So now it's kind of like, because last week they supposed to, he can still be reelected.
Jesus.
All of
Sworn
this
in on they're saying March 4th because
back in 1930.
Actually, it's 17 or you're right, 1933.
Yeah.
Whatever. You guys, you can look this stuff up online, but honestly, we got to get back to making sense. Yeah. And we got to get back to caring for each other as people. And this time around, because there is going to be a uproar from his supporters, and there's going to be people, coming out hard, to support this type of ideology. But here's what we have to do as people of faith. We have to stand up against any type of racism, sexism, any kind of injustice. We do. But we have to pull back a little bit on our vitriol towards the people. And I know it's the people that are doing the damage, but I was on a plane this weekend and I sat right next to, like, I'm in one seat, this lady's in the next. She had the cutest little baby boy who was like 3-4 months old, and she was feeding him, and I was taking my daughter to a college visit. And so I was like, oh my gosh, I remember when my little one was that age. And we got to talking about motherhood. We got to talking about, things she's, looking forward to as, being a mom. And I got to talking to her about my daughter and stuff. Great conversation. And then it took a left turn, or should I say a right turn? Because she was talking about she's just worried about the world that her kids are growing up in. And I was like, well, the world is getting better. I was like, we're starting to see more inclusion. I was like, look at us. You're this, young white lady from Lynchburg, Virginia.
Lynchburg.
Lynchburg. Put a pin in that one.
Yeah.
I was like, and I'm this black lady, that has very liberal values, but honors and respect and has a relationship with God. I was like, things are changing. She goes, but Doni, you don't understand, because we had kind of been conversing for a while. She goes, they are taking God out of everything, and they illegally got rid of our president. And I was like, what?
Huh?
What? What? She goes, because she had talked about being a businesswoman. She goes, and you as an entrepreneur, I don't understand how you can support these people. And she honestly, this is why I say we got to love the people. She believes all that stuff, the QAnon stuff. She was one of them.
Wow.
And she was like me, I've got black friends, and I'm not gonna.
You're on the plane with me. You're my black friend.
She goes, I'm not racist. She goes, I just love this country and I don't like the way it's going. I was like, but I didn't like the way it was. Do you understand that? Yeah. I was like, it's better for me now than it ever has been. And actually, if you look at it as a mom of a child that is growing up in a community where we're talking more about the future and more about the environment and more about taking care of our planet, I was like, and we're talking about being kind to one another, that in and of itself is something good. She didn't want to hear it. She was like, nope, Doni, they and I thought about it. She's a real person. She was scared for her child's future based on the stuff that she's being told. So at some point, we've got to, and here's the other story with her. She got pregnant at a young age, and she's not very educated. She's smart though, real smart lady. Come from a small town. Her husband's military, and she's actually been around the world with her husband. He's in the Navy, and she really believes this stuff.
Well, Doni, here's the thing.
So how do we deal with that?
It's funny. On the individual aspect of it, you got to educate yourself. Get more knowledge about what's going on.
But how do we educate those people that really believe this stuff?
That's the hard part. That's what I was saying, the hard part, because what they're doing is they're signing up listening to the Fox News. Where their information is coming from.
Well, they're turning against Fox now, but now Fox is trying to get them back, so they're going hardcore again. On
so all Fox do is they highlight this guy's speech, and they start getting people back behind him so they can get their viewership. Yeah. Because it changes, because instead of giving the facts out to the people, it's kind of like, how do we get our ratings? Right. How do we tell these people what they really already believe? Right. How do we foster this lie? Yeah. It's like having the wrong kind of books in elementary schools that talk about Black history. Right. It's kind of like you're giving a false information. Right.
But that's another thing they fight against. They don't want the real history of this country to be told. But here's my thing. There's nothing wrong with talking about the real history of this country. Right. And then honoring the fact that we're trying to do better now.
We're moved on.
We're moving on. That's a beautiful thing about this country, is that we're moving on and we're doing better.
How can this person say?
I think I just spilled coffee all down my shirt. But anyway,
how can this person say, they took away our president, and at the same time saying they're trying to take God out of everything? Yeah. Because he's the one that's trying to do that too. Yeah. He is against religion. Well, you know what? I'm not going to say.
He's not. Well, he uses it conveniently. Yeah. He's not a religious person.
He's not a religion.
But he has sold it to them as if he is. And there's nothing you and I could say to convince them different.
Oh, no. You know, I remember we had the guy that worked with us about 2 years ago, one of our techs or whatever, videographers. And I remember
and let's preface, he was a black guy.
He was a black guy,
there are black people that support him.
And he was really ingrained, you know, with that guy. And it's like, even we would sit there and have these conversations like, why?
Yeah.
All of these facts. And it was the emotion. He just felt that he was right. He just had that emotion, you know, and anything that you could say factual, they try to debunk it like, no, that's not real. That's not, you know, that's fake news.
Yeah.
You know, and it's sad.
But here's the funny thing. Here's why it's scary. A lot of the news out there is fakes. Now, facts are not fake, but the way it's presented is fake. And we'll talk about that in the next segment. But I always say that, you know, Fox wants you to hate everybody and CNN wants you to be scared. And I'm telling you, or it could be vice versa, depending on how you look at it. And we got to get to the point where we start looking at each other as fellow human beings and fellow Americans and go, listen, I don't agree with you on this particular issue, but you're my brother, you're my sister. As long as you're not trampling on the rights of others, we've got to find a way to come together.
But that's the sad part, though, Donnie.
Yeah.
Because we do want to come together, but Republicans, I've said this before, Democrats want to be right. Republicans just want to win.
It's true.
And it's like, even if you say, well, let's compromise, they're trying to do things right now with the voting situation here in Georgia. Because they're like, well, let's take away their vote, you know? And it's like, okay, you're not playing fair.
You're not playing fair.
Let's be, if we're going to compromise and work together, let's do it.
Right.
But every time we do that, then you got like the snake in the weeds that are like,
But here's the other thing. And this is where it comes in to be a good thing that I'm independent. A lot of the stuff that is on the left isn't necessarily right and conducive for a successful business, a successful life, or a successful, you know, marriage, or a successful community. Some of it is, a lot of it is, but there are certain things like you can't just, there's no such thing as making everything equal. Everybody should have equal rights, but not everybody is equally gifted.
Everybody's not equally gifted, and Democrats are not always right. Republicans are not always right.
Exactly.
Right or wrong. But what we need to do is, like when they're in Congress, they are arguing against Democrats just because you're Democrat.
Exactly.
And the other side is doing the same thing just because you're Republican.
And
it's like, what happens for the people?
You know who hurts?
The people.
The people are the ones that are hurting right now. And neither side is listening to that. Neither side is understanding that at some point this has got to stop being a game. Because I really feel like it's a game to them. But we're going to talk a little bit more about that.
We got to.
We know this is a little bit more serious conversation, but we love you and we want to have these real conversations. So we'll be right back. You're listening to Doni Jones Live, where I'm Donnie the Tree Lady.
And I'm Marty McFly. I got to look at my camera because you just be taking it all off. Anyway, we'll be right back.
It's Doni Jones Live, Doni Jones Live. It's Doni Jones Live, Doni